So yesterday we have completed the troubleshooting section and debugging section of the workflow. So there were some few parts left, so we will complete it, and then we will be discussing about the WebGen Pro in a very brief, and then we will be seeing how WebGen Pro can be launched from workflow. Since I am basically concerned about showing you how the WebGen Pro can be launched from workflow, but before that, since we will be launching WebGen Pro, so I just want to give you a brief overview on the WebGen Pro also. So here, as yesterday we were doing about this function module, we were learning about this function module as well. So we will be seeing one by one what it do. First one is SWP top level workflow get. So just go to SC37 and also go to SWIA, so that from there we will be getting the work item ID. This function module is basically responsible to return the mother workflow number, the mother work item number. I'm just taking some dialog work item ID so that I can show you the mother work item ID, how it is fetched. Yeah, so here you can see we are having one mother work item ID, that is 963117, and child work item ID, that is 963119. So suppose you have some container elements in this dialog work item ID, so that is a child work item ID. This is a container of the child work item ID, that is this is the container of the task, and the above one is the container of the mother workflow, that is the main workflow. So suppose you have got the work item ID of this dialog step and you want to read the container of the mother work item ID. So you have this 963119 with you, but you want to get the mother workflow ID, work item ID, so that you can read the container of the mother work item ID. So what we can do is we can pass this particular work item ID let me note down this work item ID, that is 963119. So copy this, and now going to the function module, press F8. You can call this function module in your program to fetch the work item ID. So now give the work item ID. This is the child one, and through this I will be able to fetch the mother work item ID. Execute it. Now here double click on it. You can see here in WIID the number which is present is the mother workflow work item ID. It is 117. Let me show you. In SWIA, you can see 117 is the mother work item ID. 119631117. So this is the function module available to get the mother work item ID. Now suppose you got the mother work item ID. Now you want to read the container elements of that particular work item ID. Now what I will do here, I will take this. The logic part you have to write. Okay, you will have to get this data in work area, and from that work area you will be fetching this work item ID. I'm just showing you how the flow. After getting this, I want to read the container element. Okay, so I will be using the function module called read container. Press F8. Give the work item ID over here. Many useful function modules are available. You can make use of that. I will show you where it is available. Copy this. Now here paste it. So here you can see we have got the container element, that is BUS2032. This was a container element, and the value you have got 6127. Let me show you in detail. Container successfully read. It is also showing you the default container element as well. So that's the reason you are getting work item, group ID, work item, predecessor, work item. So you will be getting data in this simple container. This is the data: workflow initiator, priority, version, group ID, and this is a custom one which we have created. Okay, so you will be getting the data in this simple container. Once you give the work item ID, you can also give the dialog work item ID over here. No problem with that. You can give any child or mother. The work item ID, the container specific to that work item ID will be read. So this is upon the requirement. You want to read the mother or the task work item, container, then you can just provide it accordingly. Now suppose you have the mother work item ID and you want to read the dialog work item ID. In this log, suppose you have got this 963117 and you want to get this dependent work item ID, that is 963119. So one function module is available for that. This is the function module which is available. Press F8. In this, give the work item ID. Suppose I give this 963117. You will have to give the mother work item ID. Then you will get the child work item ID out of that. Now execute it. In the items, you can see you have got 963119, and this W specify the type of the work item ID. Since this 963119 was the child and it was dialog work item, as I told you, for dialog the type is W. So you can see 963119 is the child and this one is a dialog. We have agents over here. So the type will be W. So you can just read this particular table. It comes into table. You can read this particular table with type as W. So if you want dialog work items, you can get that. And if you want only background, you can read with type B. So this is how you can differentiate it. So now suppose you want to first one was the read, and if you want to write the container, similarly you can write the container elements. It will update the container elements. Now you want to get the agent specific to the work item ID, because see, this is all the function model we use in the application logic. Okay, like when you write the program and you want to interact with the workflow, you can do it in this way. So give this function module name, and suppose I want to read the agent present in this particular work item, that is 963119. See the agents who is present, Lakshmi Kenya. So it will give me Lakshmi Care. So I will just select this work item ID. Give here work item ID. Go to WI agents and you can see I'm having this user Lkadia. So here you can get the agents whoever is maintained in that particular work item. So you have to give this dialog work item because users are maintained at dialog step. So suppose you want to get the substitute as well, you can just check the substitution with substitute here, the field, then you will get who is maintained as a substitute for Lkadia will also be fetched. So this is very helpful FM because once we interact with this workflow, we take the help of this FM to get the substitute as well and also the agents. Suppose user in a real-time scenario, suppose a customer wants that they want to know in the front end with whom the these work items are pending with. So you can just use this FM to get the dialog agents and can show to the user that these are the agents with whom the work item is pending with. So this is the use of this FM. Now the next FM is this cancel. If suppose you want that you want to cancel the first workflow and you want to, suppose in case of resubmission, you want that first once the workflow is triggered, then again if it is resubmitted, then the old workflow should be cancelled and the new workflow should be triggered. So in that case you can use this particular workflow function module. Give the work item ID, you have to give the mother. You can see the status is in process, the current status is in process. Now I will show you what happens when I execute that FM. The status will turn to logically deleted. Logically deleted. Now I will show you in the log. You can see the status has turned to logically deleted and this boxes has turned into white, means transparent. So this is how you can delete the workflow also through this function module. Now yesterday I've shown you how to forward the work items. That was one of the FM available through which you can forward the work item. Also if you want to delegate the jobs, as I have told you about the delegation, so you can also delegate through this function module that to maintain the substitute. So you can use the FM to delegate the same. So many FMs are available. Yes, Hitesh.
Yeah. How do you get the work item number programmatically?
Yeah, suppose if you are having front end as a portal like EP portal, then they will pass through application the work item ID through HTTP means internal table. You will have to read that HTTP internal table, and from there you can get the work item ID. Means once you click on that work item, the application get launched from EP, and that EP enterprise portal is responsible to send that work item ID. And in case of this WebDyn Pro, in this which I will be showing you today from this workflow to the WebDyn Pro, there also you can pass this work item ID and get it from in the application. If you sorry,
you will show me one example for that, or
we don't have EP over here.
okay.
So we won't be able to show you, but if it's not your job, you won't have to worry about it. They only maintain in SWF_Vishu transaction, they maintain the task ID, and for that task ultimately whatever the work item ID is generated, that is sent through the application. You can note it down, like I will tell you the example. Suppose this is the path HTTPS whenever an application get launched, suppose BC_SCP_ suppose workflow, this is the application launch. So you can know that this suppose name is equal to Lkadia. These are the parameters which is being sent. I don't know whether you know about this or not. This is how the parameter is being sent, right? So similarly, you will get workflow ID is equal to a runtime ID, that is 190.137, like this. And similarly, and suppose subject is equal to workflow. This is how it is sent, and we have one table called http v something like that. I just don't remember that table name. It is internal table name. This is the type of the table, so you will have to read table, this particular table, I http something like that, and with key is equal to wi id, and into ls you can take it. Suppose you suppose you take it here with key this, then you can just read it in some variable. This is how you can get it in the application, and you will have to read it.
It's only for WinInfo?
Yeah, basically it is, yeah.
This function model will be used for only WinInfo?
Yeah, definitely. Means not if you, even you can use it in ABAP also, if you want that to use it in ABAP code. Yeah, basically we use it in web, from this WebInfo to the ABAP, because the backend is ABAP in WebInfo. So to interact with the workflow, we use this FMs in ABAP business logic, but we get the work item ID in WebInfo.
Okay. But not the one you are using right now, right? It won't be irregular what we have done so far, examples.
No, if suppose they don't want to...
If I write an ABAP program, not a WebInfo program, just a simple ABAP program, in those cases...
No, you can get it. Let me show you. Wait. You can get the workflow ID from there itself. I have written one program, I remember that program, to start the workflow. Trigger something was there. Okay, I will write one new one. Wait. Let me show you. It is already there. In program also you can get the work item ID. Through this start workflow. If you're starting the workflow through the program, you will get the work item ID, because this function module actually returns the work item ID. You can see importing parameter work item ID. So if I start one workflow, in returning you will get the work item ID. So this will be the mother work item ID. Okay, so you can get the child work item ID, then you can read the work. So this is how you can get it, and you can complete the flow.
Okay, the start.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
But from WebInfo, you can get the work item ID from there, because you are starting from the program from here, and from WebInfo it will be started from EP portal itself. So they will pass the work item ID. So this is how you can get the work item ID. Also, you can pass the container elements from here, and these two importing parameters are there. So fine, let me go out from here. So suppose you have started the workflow from there, and you want to complete it through program. So through the function module. In the program you want to complete the workflow. So I think Praveen was asking about this. So there are two ways you can come, like you were saying that if somebody approves it and if somebody rejects it, so you want that flow. So in SWDD, in workflow builder, you can create one user decision step, and you can have two decision, approve and reject. And in approve branch, you can create one method, one activity, and within that you can write the logic of, like suppose one draft bill is created, and whenever it is approved, you want that one invoice should be created. So you can create one user decision step. Suppose here I am creating one user decision step. I'm showing you how you can do these things. Suppose we have two decisions, so we will be having two branches. So here one is approve and one is reject. So once it is approved, you can write one activity, one method within that activity to create the invoice, and once it's reject, you can display the message, or you can just have one process control step to complete the workflow. And once the if you have started the workflow through the start workflow, you will get the work item ID, and from there you can do the respective subsequent work. So this is the one way to create the invoice from the drop bill, one example. And the other one is, suppose you can even update the container elements here in the action. You can have one container element, suppose action, and you can just update it that okay, the user has taken the action as reject or the approve, and after that in the program you can do the subsequent steps based on that container element. So you will have the work item ID with you because you have started it from start workflow in the program. From that work item ID you will read the container, as I have shown you how to read the container element, and from there you will read the action element, and there from there you can come to know what action has been taken, and based on that action you can generate the invoice. So there are two ways you can do in the program also and in the workflow also. You can even have the activity step over here, and you can even save the data in the database, or you can create the invoice if the user approves it. So these are the two ways in which you can do the logic part. Now if you want to complete the workflow in the application, so you can do that also. This WAPI has given us number of function modules, so you can just press star and you can go through it. Number of FMs are available. This is SAP WAPI work item complete, so this will complete the workflow. So if you give the work item ID, it will complete the workflow, but do commit should be checked. Okay, so these are the FMs which are available to interact with the application logic. Once you press F4, you can see number of function modules are available. You can use this function module in the logic part in the application, and can take the help of and can fulfill the business requirement. So whenever there comes a requirement and you want it to be done in the program, then you can just go through this SAP WAPI. You can search for the FM which meets your requirement, and then can execute it. Very simple execution is given. You just need to provide the importing, and you will get all data and exporting parameters. So I have just shown you some important FMs which we use in regular basis. Like these are whatever FM I have shown you, we use it, and others are only used whenever the requirement comes. So we have completed this FM, and next I will be covering the WebGen Pro. I will be giving you brief overview on what is a WebGen Pro. Is anyone familiar with this WebGen Pro? Raise the hand. Okay, so here first I will tell you why this WebGen Pro has come into picture. As in ABAP, we were having this module pool programming. We were having this PBO, PAI, and we used to write the logic in PBO, PAI, and also the layout is done in the Screen Painter. So what is the drawback of that module pool programming, and why this WebGen Pro, this SAP has come up with this WebGen Pro? Because as we know that in this PBO PAI, everything, the logic part, the business logic part, the backend, hitting the backend function or calling the function module or fetching the data DDIC and getting the fetching the domain, search help, everything was done in the front end. So there was no clear separation between the front end and the back end. So the logic part and the layout part were totally mixed up. So everything was like you whatever you have to write it, you will have to write in PBO and PI. So here in WebDynPro, this SAP has given this WebDynPro to be built up where there is a clear separation of layout and the logic, because it goes with this MVC architecture. This MVC architecture has been provided. This is not only specific to this WebDynPro. This architecture is also used in Java. This is basically framework which is used to build the WebDynPro application. So WebDynPro application basically integrated in this browser. Whenever this application is launched, one browser gets open where whatever you have designed, the layout will get displayed in that particular browser. So there all the UI elements are being built, like input fields and table fields, everything we built in the layout section. And you can also dynamically change that layout. Also one wizard is in this while you generate the try to develop the code, wizard is available for generating the code. You don't have to write the code manually. And graphical editor is provided to design the UI elements. Also in this WebDynPro we are having this internationalization where you can like whenever you want to show, suppose the name of the input field, it will be shown specific to the logon user language. So there we are having internationalization also. And for building this WebDynPro, only basic ABAP skills is required, not up skills. So because we don't have to write much code over here. Also, if you are familiar with this Java and JSP, you would know that we used to write this UI elements and code in that HTML code. Like whenever you want to change some UI elements, you will have to write the code in the HTML tag. So here no HTML is provided, no HTML code, nor there is any implementation code, and it is like it actually eases the development. You only have to drag and drop the UI elements. And also when you save and activate this particular WebDynPro or the layout or whatever you have built, when metadata is generated out of that, and at design time HTML is generated in backend. We don't have access to that, we don't view that, and only we have the front end access, so we just drag and drop the UI elements. So here, as we know that it's one framework for development, the user has got one interface where it has access, where he can give the inputs to that UI elements, or he can interact with that user interface. So whenever that particular input is given, it actually connects it with the backend and give the output to the user. So there is a clear separation of the layout and the logic. Also, it supports programming for different platforms such as Java and ABAP. Like the front end will be WebDynPro, the back end can be Java and the ABAP. So here we will be taking help of ABAP. So here this is supported in both platforms, in number of platform in fact. And as I have already told you that there is a clear separation of layout and logic. So the user doesn't have to bother about the backend system. So here we have little coding and more design, and as I have given you concept of internationalization as well, and it can also be integrated with Adobe Forms. Like if suppose you have one button in the WebDynPro screen, and if you click that particular button, one Adobe Form should get launched. So it can also be done in WebDynPro, and it support platforms like Java and ABAP. So there are two types of WebDynPro. One is WebDynPro Java and WebDynPro ABAP, but both are same, only underlying language is different, architecture is completely same. So but in WebDynPro Java we have direct access to the ABAP business logic, the data dictionary, the structure, the domains, and it is very easy to call the business logic in the same system. But in case of this WebDynPro ABAP, the one RFC, we can only get access to, sorry, I have just told the opposite. In WebDynPro ABAP, we have this access to the business logic and data dictionary and structure in a direct way. But in WebDynPro Java, through RFC and through web service only, we can get access to the backend logic. So here we were discussing about MVC architecture. So if you are familiar with this MVC architecture, it's great. But if the people who are not familiar, let me explain it. So we are having this M means model, V means view, and the C means controller. This is basically one architecture which the WebGen2 follows, just to make the clear separation between the layout and the logic part. In this view, we design the layout where the user interact with this view. So whatever is displayed, whatever you want to display as the field, as a table in the layout, or you want that the user should view that the things, so it is done in view part. So it doesn't care about the logic or the backend system, nothing. So only the the user interaction part is presented in the view. It is acting as a presentation layer. Now coming to the model is the business interaction layer. It actually responsible to fetch the data from the backend. So you just pass the input to the model, and the data respective to that input is fetched from the database and it is returned to the controller. So this controller acts as an intermediate between this model and view. This controller is responsible to convert the input given by the view. Like suppose the user gives the input, now this model doesn't understand that input, so controller will convert into the language which is understandable by the model. So it will take that input and will hit the database, get the data, and will again return back to the controller. So then the controller will again format the data and will present to the view. So view will ultimately show that that particular output to the user. So this controller basically acts as a do as an intermediate processing. So it actually interacts between the model and the view. The request is taken and the response is given. This view, as I as I told you, it is a central logical layout element, and it is responsible for the presentation logic, for the representation of the data in the browser. So it actually represents all the elements or the fields in the browser. Now coming to the controller, it actually handles the data flow. As I told you that it acts as an intermediate between the model and the view. You can see it actually handles the data flow between the model and it lies between the model and the view. It formats the data to be displayed in the view, and it also formats the entries made by the user, and it actually gives it to the model. So vice versa, means in both ways it do the formatting. We have three type of controllers. We have view controller, global controller, interface controller. So this view controller, we have their events, we have methods. So whenever you want to interact, means whatever data is to be displayed in the view, this view controller is going to hold that data, and from that controller part it is shown to the view. So similarly we have global controller and interface controller. If suppose two components want to, if suppose you want to pass the data from one component to the another component, you will have to keep it in the interface controller so that it can be fetched from different components. So the data, the interaction between two components can be done through the interface controller, and this global controller is the controller of the component controller. So there are three controllers available. Now we have model. As I told you, it acts as an interface to the backend system. It is actually responsible to provide data. It hit the database and get the data. So whatever, if only model has the access to the data, But in WebGen Pro, what we can do, we can also have direct access to the backend in the view or the controller itself. But we don't follow that, because ultimately we will be violating this MVC architecture. So whenever we want to hit the database, we will take the help of model and we will hit the database. We can hit the database in the view and controller itself, but we don't do that. We actually take the help of model and hit the database. Otherwise, there is no use of this MVC architecture. Means from the view, we call the assistant class, and from the assistant class, it actually hits the database. First, from the view, you call the component controller. From component controller, it calls the assistant class method. Then from assistant class, it hits the call the function modules. So this is the total flow. Through the assistant class, we actually hit the database. So the assistant class acts as a model to fetch the data from the database. In this application, so whenever one component or the WebGen component is built, one application is generated, because this application is actually the URL. We get one URL, and through this URL only the browser gets open, and if that particular browser, whenever you generate one application of that component, one URL gets generated. So whenever you test it, if you want to launch that particular application, we can do that. We have windows available. In that window, actually we embed the views. This view you cannot see that view. Actually, you can only see the window. So within this window, we have views. We can have one view also, we can have multiple views also. So we actually embed the view inside the window, and we launch the window. Whenever one application or the web application is launched, ultimately it shows all the UI elements of the view in a window. So you close the window, you minimize the window. So it is similarly, you need one container element to view all the data. It acts as a container for the view. So this was the total pattern pieces of the WebGen Pro. So I have just given you brief overview on it. Now I will go to SWDD. Now my purpose is to launch one WebGen Pro screen from the work item. First, I will develop one WebGen Pro. So this WebGen Pro is actually developed in the transaction SC80. I will show you one application. Going to this WebGen Pro, select WebGen Pro, and suppose create one WebGen Pro application, suppose ZAPP2. Once you click on that name, you will get one pop-up saying WebGen Pro component interface does not exist, create object. Click on yes, give the description, you can give any name, and you will get one window name and the view name. These are the two default window and the main which you get this WebGen Pro. So once you click on enter, so here you can see one application, that ZAPP2. We have some pattern pieces over here. One is component controller, one is component interface, next is view, and next is window. So in this window, as I told you, we get one default window with the same name as the WebIntro name. We have a view called the main view, and we have component interface where we have interface controller. As I told you that we have three type of controller. One is component, one is interface, and one is view. So this interface controller, if you want to interact with other components, suppose ZAPP3, then you can have the data in this. You can have the data in interface controller. So other components will have access to this interface controller, so they can access the data after doing component usage. Maybe you won't be understanding everything in this WebGenPro because it is again a different class itself. So just try to understand the concepts. So this is the interface controller. Now in the component controller, so what we do, if you have number of views, suppose 5 views, and you if you have some common data to be used by this 5 views, you place the data in the component controller, and all the views interact with that component controller and get the data. So it is like global variable. Whatever you want to set, you can just set in this component controller. It will become as a global variable, and the data set in the individual view become the local variable, local to that particular view. So now in this window, once you click on this window, you can see that you can see the name of the window, that is ZAPP2. Once you click on this drop down, one main view, you can see one view, that is the default view, is embedded in this particular window. As I told you, you can only see the view only if it is embedded in the window. You cannot independently see the view. It should be embedded in some window. So it is embedded by default in this particular window, and you can see you are having one inbound plug associated with this view, which is called as a default plug. It means that whenever one application gets launched, this window gets launched, and this particular view gets displayed in that window by default. So this is how it works. If you want to create one application, you just have to right click on it and create WebGenPro application. Select that, give the description name. I'm just creating the application to get the URL. So you can see the description is given, the interface view, and the interface view is the name of the window. You can see the name of the window, and the plug name is default. So, and in the last line, you can see we are having one URL available, that is http sapserver.vj.com. Then the port is given, first the host name, then the port name, then the full path. So this last ZAPP2 is the name of the application. So this is the whole URL which you get out of this WebGenPro component. So the whole application is ready, the URL is ready. So now save it. Now go to the view. We will design some UI elements over there. Once you double click on the view, you can see in the right side we are having root UI container. So there we will be right click on it, insert the element. Means I will be inserting some few elements. Suppose I want to insert the approve button. In the right side, you can see I have got the button. Many UI elements are available. So for just to show you one example, I have selected one button. So here I can give the text. Once you see, select that particular button, the properties associated with that button gets displayed in the right side, and in the text you can give the name of the button, that is approve. Suppose the name is given, and we have the action associated with this button. If you want to define the action that suppose you want to complete the work item once the user clicks on approve, you can just create the action and write the relevant logic. So you will be writing the logic similar to the ABAP itself. No different logic is written. So here the button is created. Now activate it. Just go to display mode and activate the whole component, because in WebGen Pro you need to activate the whole component. So after building this WebGen Pro application, we will be building one we will be doing some configuration required to launch the WebGen Pro from the work item of which is present in the inbox of the user. So here we will start with the configuration. First you will have to move to the transaction SWF underscore hand cust. In this particular transaction we will be actually giving the details about the server name and the host name. So it is already present over here, but if it is not present in your system, it is actually present by default. You need to only check whether it is correct or not. If it is not there, then you only have to generate it. You will click on this generate, then the everything will be generated automatically. So here you have to give this log as a HTTP in the host, the server name, as I've shown you in this WebGen Pro also, in this application which we have created. Here you can see this HTTP log, and then this is the host name. So it is sapserver.vj.com and the port is 8000. So here in the service handler also you will have to give the same host name and the port name. Then you will have to give the path as SAP BC Webflow. This should always be the same. Means this only you will have to give in the your server, your system also. SAP/BC/Webflow/ till slash, and the handler name will be WS handler. Now in callback handler, same, everything will be same, similar to launch handler. In callback dialog, it will be same. This will be HTTP, this will be SAP server. This is a configuration which you need to do, and other thing doesn't required. Other thing is not required, only these three: this launch handler, callback handler, and the callback dialog. But in launch handler, this is the configuration which you need to maintain. Now going to the transaction WF EXT SRV. Here you will have to create one new entry. Go to new entry, give service ID any name, test demo suppose. The short text, give any name. In this log, select HTTP. In the host, give the name of the host. In the port, give 8000. In the path, you will have to give the path from here, from the WebGen Pro application. it means that in this particular T code, we are actually means linking one service ID with the path. So this is how one service ID is linked with the path. Now save it. Now go back. You can see one entry is being created, and that is in the first line, ztest demo http, and the name of the server and the port and the path and the call mode, dialog based service. So this is how you will be maintaining one or linking one service ID with the path. So now next the job is to create the workflow. Go to swdd transaction. Here go to create mode. We will be creating one workflow. Create one activity step. Create the task. Now in the BOR, you will have to give object category. You will select as BOR as object category, and in object type you will give web service, and in the method you will select process dialog, because it should be dialog step, means it should be dialog work item. So that's the reason you will have to select this process dialog. Now since you can see, once you have saved it, this particular synchronous was not checked. So this means that this particular task has become asynchronous. So for this asynchronous, as I have already told you, you will have to maintain one terminating event, because this particular task will not get over unless one event is fired. So we will be maintaining one terminating event which will actually complete this particular task. So in this event, you will select this BOR. First select WI object ID. Select Webflow service. So it comes, the object type comes out to be web service, and in this event should be completed. So once this completed event is fired, this particular task will get completed. Save it. Now go back. Now make the task as general task. Go to attribute section, make this as general task. It will actually create one work item and which will get displayed in the inbox of the user, because I have selected a process dialog. So once you click on that work item, the application, the WebInfo application will get launched. So you selected expression as WF initiator. Now save it. Now activate it. Now we have done three things. First, we have done the configuration in Handkers, then we have done the configuration in EXTSRV, then we have created one workflow. Yes, Hitesh?
Yeah, Lakshmi, just going a little bit. Can you go back into that?
This particular activity step. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
See, next to agent, okay, go back. There is a
Okay.
red. Why, what that means? Red means red
Here red.
agent.
Here,
Yeah, sometimes it's yellow, sometimes red. Yeah.
if you do the configuration here as the general tags, or if you define the possible agents, it just changes the color. If you define the possible agents and if you do the general tags, it actually changes the color. This is actually one button
Okay.
which when you click on it and when you define something over
Yeah.
here, it changes the color.
Okay, that's one. Okay. Okay. And
Okay.
what
Yes, Hitesh.
what was about the event thing? Yeah.
Which
You,
event? The
you
terminating
explained
event?
something about. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah.
Yeah, right. Let me explain it again. Here you can see this synchronous is not checked, right? So if this particular task become a synchronous, then the task gets completed automatically. We don't have to do anything. Whenever the logic whatever is written in this method will get executed and the task will get completed. But if it is not synchronous, then you will have to then it becomes as asynchronous, and for asynchronous we will have to maintain one terminating event to complete that task. So whenever this completed event is fired, this particular task will get completed. So in terminating event, we have maintained one event called completed. So whenever this completed event is fired, this particular task will get completed. So when this completed event is fired, suppose you have one work item ID. Once I will execute this particular workflow, one work item ID will get appeared in the inbox of the user. Once the user clicks on that particular work item, and the application will get launched, the WebInfo application, and once he cancel or close that particular application, this completed event is fired, and this task gets completed. So this is how to complete the task. So
So
this
what was it?
can, yeah, tell me.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, actually, this can be one of your question interview. Also, they ask like for asynchronous, what is the mandatory things which you need? So the mandatory thing is the terminating event, because asynchronous task doesn't get completed by itself. We actually have to complete it through this terminating event.
And is there any setting needs to be done to make a synchronous? This is check mark. That's all.
That's it. Only check mark. If you don't check it, it becomes asynchronous. If you check
Yeah,
it, it becomes synchronous.
that's all.
So we have done the three things. Now we will do the fourth. So now we have developed the WebInfo, workflow. Now how the workflow or the item will know which application should be launched. So what we will do, we will copy this particular task number which we have created in the activity step. Copy this task number. We will and save it somewhere. We will actually link this particular task with the WebInfo application. So for this we need copy this path also of this WebInfo. We need these two. We are actually linking this application with this task. It means that whenever the user clicks on this particular work item generated out of this task, the path which I have mentioned for the WebInfo should get launched. So these two will be maintained in one table. Go to the table. The table name is SWLWPTSSID. So this is the table name where we are. This is done by the configuration people. Like you just have to tell the basis people or the. So here I am just doing it. It's not allowing me to change. Okay, fine. I will create the entries from there. Create the entries. Go to create entries. Now in the task, give the task name which we have copied in this notepad. In the directory, select first one SV Workplace Portal, and in the logical system you will have to give the name of the system in which you are working. So I think it is it is SR3 CLNT 800. So this is the client and this is the number of the client, and this is the logical system name. Now you will have to give the service ID. Okay, actually instead of this path, since we have linked this path with the service ID in WF hand in ext srv, so you can directly give the service ID name. So let me go to that particular transaction. It was WF ext srv. Yeah, so the service name was G test demo. So now I will maintain the entry over here, G test demo. Now save it. Now go back. So you can see one line item, this TS979000230, and this is the logical system name and this is the service identification. So now save and activate it. Okay, don't have to activate, only you have to save the data. So here now I will execute this particular workflow. Activate the workflow. Press test button. It gets directly launched, but I will show you from business workplace. So going to the business workplace. In the inbox, in the workflow tab, I would have got one line item that whatever I have written in the title work item text, that is launch WebGenPro application. Once you double click on it, the application will get launched. Suppose the user doesn't want that standard screen, that a project, rather he want WebGenPro screen. So in this way you can do it. You will have to give the logon, SAP logon user and user ID and password. You can see the application has got launched. I have created this approve button in this particular WebGenPro screen, so you are getting this WebGenPro screen. So this is how you have to do the configuration, and this is how you will be able to launch the WebGenPro from work item. So any questions till this? So you can explore more about it. You can, if you have this requirement in the company, then actually we don't launch this WebGenPro from workflow. There can be requirement, but basically we launch it from EP. So the EP people, what they do the configuration of this task and this WebInfo application in SWF_Vishu, and from that EP portal, from UWL work list, when we click on that particular work item, the application gets launched. Yes, Praveen?
Yeah, here for approve button, I need to write this on action event in WebGen Pro or in workflow.
In WebGen Pro. As I have shown you in WebGen Pro, we are having the action button.
Yeah.
Let me show you. You will be creating one action over there and you will be writing the logic part. In the view, in the main, select this button, go to the property section. Here, go to the change mode first. Create the action. Suppose approve is the name of the action. Then when you double click on it, you can write the logic over there. This is the place where you will be writing. Okay. Hello?
Yeah.
So today we have come to the end of the class. So if you have any doubt till today, like from start, so you can clear your doubts. So that's the reason I have kept some time. Yes, Hitesh?
Do you have any functional specs, real functional specs for workflow?
The requirements?
Yeah.
The real-time requirements, I will see if it's possible to provide you, because you will have to get everything in the system, because only developing workflow is easy, but you will, if you want to integrate it with some other application, you have to be ready with all other application as well. But I will try to prepare some FS. Till now it's not there, but I will try to prepare some FS. If you have access to the site, then I will post that particular FS or the requirement, then you can just develop on that particular requirement.
Yeah, because my company, my client doesn't have anything on the workflow right now, and if I do it, then it's good for them.
If you will try to develop
flexibility of doing it.
Okay. So if in what module you are working in, like SD or MM, in what module?
Like any module, SD, MM,
Okay. So this workflow, it's cross application. You can develop this workflow in any of the application and link that. Yeah, you can even go with this SD also. Like once you create it, it should go through the approval process. And for this MM also, once the material is created or the bill is created, you want that once it gets approved, the invoice should be created. So these are the simple requirements of the workflow. We don't do very complex requirement with this workflow. Only the approval process is must, but you have to stop the subsequent steps unless the document gets approved. So only after approval you will execute the subsequent steps. So you can even approach them with this workflow requirement. If they agree with it, then you can develop, and it will be good if you develop from scratch. So once you develop it, you will be very much confident in this workflow.
Yeah, because it's the year end, so I don't have too much work right now, so I have flexibility of doing something.
Okay.
And
So
give me something.
Yeah, I will give you something.
Functional spec, then that will help me, because otherwise I haven't done anything. I've taken
So you will be doing in that sandbox, like, right? Just develop. Okay.
sandbox or development system. It's okay. Yeah.
Okay, I will just post some few requirements in the site. You can have access to that. Okay.
That will help. Yeah.
Yes, Rajesh.
Can you show, you told that in between of the class that one of the assignment that attaching a mail to the other external mail IDs. You are going to
Yeah,
show
that particular configuration part. So actually I have
Yeah.
tried in this server, it's not working. So I will I will give you the document on that. So I have asked Kiran to post it in the site. You can go, if you have everything configured in your system, then you can try the whole configuration. It is given in a very good way. I have prepared one document. So I will just give it to this in the site. You can just have a look on that.
It would be a screenshot one you're
Yeah,
talking
with
about, or how it
screenshot.
would be?
It will be with screenshots.
Okay. 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 And one more, few help that of the few days back also one of the assignment which you told that you will teach next day.
Which one?
I don't remember recent. I don't remember recently. Only it happened. You were executing that and it was not getting triggered in events or agent assignment. I guess.
I have whatever was not done in previous class, I have just shown you in the next class. As far as I remembered everything.
Okay, no issues. If you have anything like screenshot, if you share in that website,
Yeah,
so that we
so
can
this
do the
extended
thing.
notification was actually not included in your course curriculum, but since you have made the request, so that's the reason I am just posting it in the website. So you can actually, even I have tried in this system, you need some domain. One domain should be created by the basis people, and suppose you want to send the notification to the Outlook, so you will have to create one ID in that domain, and once you send that notification, the work item and the notification messages will be sent to that Outlook mail. So I have prepared one document on that with screenshots. You can just go through that screenshot and try in your system. But you will have to
And
take the help of basis guys also, like to prepare this domain on and everything.
okay. And what about the RFC one?
RFC.
Workflow with the
It's very
triggering the
simple.
workflow.
It's very simple. Like if are you aware of ABAP?
Yeah.
Okay, so you would definitely know how to write the function module, right? So what you will have to do is, suppose you have one system ECC and you have one system CRM. So suppose you want to trigger the workflow from ECC to the CRM or CRM to the ECC. So you can just write one FM with the destination, giving the destination name, and you will make that FM as a remote function module. So there you will be triggering one RFC from which is present in the CRM system. So you will just pass all the events and the name of the event and the parameters to that particular function module. That function module will get that all the data and will ultimately trigger the workflow which is present in that particular system. So it is very simple. Even if you try it in your system,
Like
you can.
like we do in the ABAP itself, the same way we have to do. No?
Everything is same. Everything is same. Only you have to pass the data. Means the what? To trigger the workflow, you need only the event name and the container element. Nothing else. Only you need the key and you need the event and you need the container elements. If these three are passed from one system to another system, you can trigger the particular workflow passing all the data in that particular system. Right?
Okay. Okay.
You can just try with this RFC.
Okay. Fine. And this session, last session would be which is recorded. You would be uploading this thing, no?
Everything will be uploaded. All the sessions till date are uploaded, and this session will also be uploaded.
Okay. If we are facing any doubts, so we can mail you.
Yeah, definitely you can. Even I have repeatedly I'm telling you, mail me your doubts, but I have got only few questions. So
I have mailed you also yesterday, I guess. Day
I have
before
checked
yesterday also.
I have checked with the same mail ID. I haven't received any mail. In which ID you have sent it?
Your both IDs.
Thank you guys. Thanks a lot. And if you have any doubt, you can be in touch with me with this mail IDs. You can send me your doubts, your requirement. If you are facing any kind of issues, as much as I can, I will help you. And if you have any doubt with the workflow, just send me some screenshots so that I will be getting some in-look in that particular screenshots. So it will be helpful for me also to recognize the problems. So try everything and try it in your system or in the server system, and I will post some FS also, so you can go through that, develop that FS and can build the workflows. Sorry Rajesh, the PPT won't be provided. Where I must tell you that there is nothing present in that PPT. In fact, you would have seen I have never opened the PPT. Only in the first two class I have opened the PPTs. So everything was taught in practical. So it is of no use of uploading this PPT as well. Only the theory part is present, and that in fact if you have access to the article which is posted in the website, many more things are written other than this PPT. So thank you so much.